Hey, story lovers. Tonight's tale is about the dead children's playground. My name is Clinton Manning, and you're watching Tales by Firelight. So, this is the fourth tale of the Deep South. This one takes us to Alabama, in the city of Huntsville. There's an old cemetery that's called the Maple Hill Cemetery. It is really big. It's on 100 acres of land. It was founded back in 1818. So this cemetery is really large, and on just next to the cemetery, right at the end, right over this barrier, there's a playground that's called the Dead Children's Playground. It's built on an old limestone quarry. So if you go there, there's a lot of trees. There's kind of a walkway that goes down into the forest, surrounded by cliffs, about 3/4 around it. The local lore says that during the 1940s, there was a crazy, twisted individual who used to hide in the cliffs watching the children play. Soon, children started disappearing left and right, and they started finding little bodies in that same area. And they say that now, the children from the cemetery come and play in this playground. There are reports of people seeing swings moving, seeing ghostly blue apparitions, and they say that you'll feel cold spots near the swings and things like that. There's this group of kids, they were teenagers, they say they're all 16 years old, and they're cruising around in their car, 2 guys and 3 girls. And one of the guys said, "Hey, you guys want to check out a haunted playground?" And 2 of the girls were like, "Yes!" And the guy sitting next to him was like, "Let's do it." And the one girl, of course there's always one, she was a party pooper. She did not want to have anything to do with it. "No, I want to go to Denny's." So they drive to the cemetery, and they were planning on doing some sneaking around, so they find a place to park right in the center. And it's really big. So they're walking through the cemetery. The guy who knows where he's going is leading them to the Dead Children's Playground. So they get to this barrier, hop it, and start walking down this old road that takes them to another path that starts leading them down to the old limestone quarry, where now sits a little playground for the kids. So they came prepared. They had one person brought a teddy bear that they found in the car, and they were sitting on the swings, and everyone was talking to the air, talking to the ghosts, trying to conjure up some paranormal activity. Meanwhile, this one girl, let's call her Julie, she was not entertained at all. She was leaning up against a tree with her arms folded, and she was telling everybody, "Let's go to Denny's, this is so boring, these ghosts are dumb." As they continued to play, kind of ignoring her, they began to feel that the air became really still. And one girl was swinging on the swings, when suddenly the swing next to her began to swing as well, even though there was no one in it. Everyone noticed, and this energy began to flow through them as their curiosity grew. So then one of the girls decided to take that little teddy bear and put it on top of the slide. They heard that if they asked nicely, one of the little ghost kids would push the teddy bear down the slide. So they were asking, but nothing was happening. So they waited a bit longer, and they were playing around, when finally that little teddy bear was pushed and slid all the way down the slide. And they were amazed, except for Julie. Julie was totally bored. Now, as a rule, you never disrespect the dead, but Julie didn't believe anything. She wasn't close enough to see what was going on. So she started saying rude remarks about the cemetery, about how boring the place was, about how she wanted to go to Denny's. If I said that enough? So then, suddenly, without much warning, they heard a snap from up above, and a huge tree branch fell right on top of Julie. Everyone noticed and came running to her aid, and she was on the ground, and they took the branch off of her. She had a bump on her head and some scratches on the side of her face. And one of the boys said, "See? You're disrespecting the dead. You shouldn't do that." And as soon as he said that, the air filled with sounds of children's laughter, and they began to hear the pitter-patter of little feet on the gravel and the cement and walking through the grass. Well, they weren't having fun anymore, so they decided to leave. They helped Julie up and all started walking back towards the car. And by then, it was really late and it was dark. So So they crossed the barrier, and they realized that they shouldn't have parked in the middle of the cemetery. Now, strangely, they could still hear the sound of the children playing, and it was all around them. And the longer they walked towards their vehicle, the more scared they became. When finally they saw their car, they all ran, jumped into the vehicle, and they started driving. So they started making their way towards the same entrance that they came through. But when they got to the entrance, to their horror, the gate was locked, had a huge chain around it with a big padlock. And one of the guys got out and took a look, and there's no way that he can get through. So they get back in the cemetery, and they started driving around frantically, looking for another way to get out. And everyone was feeling scared. Julie was crying, the other girls were trying to comfort her, and the guys were looking around for another exit. And there's no way they can get out. So, as they continued to drive through the cemetery, they found what looked like the main entrance. It was a larger gate with an office next to it. So they pulled right up to it, knocked on the office, and no one was there. So one of the boys went to the gate, and he started working with it to see if there's any way he can get it open. And the girls, they were all standing outside of the car, and they were all freaking out, and they're all looking around, when somebody noticed towards the direction of the playground, they could see little blue orbs, little balls of blue fire were starting to float towards them. And the girl who noticed that said, "Guys, what is that? We gotta get out of here." The guy was working as fast as he can on the fence, and he couldn't get it unlocked. So everyone hopped into the car. He figured out a way to pull something, and he figured out a way to open the fence. And as he looked back towards the car, he saw that there were dozens of little orbs all floating towards the vehicle. And so he swung the doors open. They drove through the gate, and as he turned around to walk towards the car, he felt a little hand grab his ankle. He screamed like a girl and ran to the car, jumped in, and they took off. So it is said that if you go to the dead children's playground, that you can witness these types of things. Beware that you don't park and get locked into the cemetery like they did.